In this video, I'm gonna use Pearson correlation. In statistics, Pearson correlation measure the linear dependence between two variables, or measure the strength and the direction of a linear relationship between two variables. If you are interested about to know the formula of Pearson correlation or R, this is how the formula looks like. But we are not gonna waste our time calculating this. We're gonna let the code do the Pearson correlation. So I'm going to start with this code first, and I'm going to use horsepower, length, and width to calculate the Pearson coefficient and P value. So in this line of code here, we change the data type price to float, and in the horsepower, we're going to change the data type as well. So start with diff equal diff drop NA subset equal horsepower, comma, axis equals 0. The next line of code, df horsepower equal df horsepower that as type and float. The next line of code, df that core. Now I'm gonna need to import library from scipy import stats. This is how we're gonna do this statistic calculation. Next, I'm gonna calculate Pearson coefficient and P value for horsepower. And I'm gonna use horsepower and the price as a variable. So I'm gonna use Pearson underscore coefficient and P underscore value. I'm gonna use these two variables. Stats dot Pearson R. And I'm gonna use def horsepower and def price, close parentheses. Next, I'm gonna print the result. So print, I'm gonna use the Pearson correlation coefficient of horsepower is, and then I'm gonna use Pearson coefficient variables, comma, then with p-value of, and then I'm gonna use the p-value variable that I used earlier, close parentheses. Now hit Control D. So the Pearson correlation coefficient of horsepower is 0.81055, and then with the p-value of this one. Now, next I'm going to calculate the Pearson coefficient and the p-value for length and width. And I'm going to use the same two line of codes here. Just I'm going to copy it and paste it twice and then change the variables. I'm going to Control V and Control V. So this one, so I'm gonna change the length right here, and I'm gonna change this word here, length again, and this one here, I'm gonna change the to width, and right here, because I'm using print statement three times, I'm printing first, I'm gonna print the Pearson coefficient and p-value for horsepower first, then I will print the Pearson coefficient and p-value for length second, and the width third. So right here, Control B. So here we go. The Pearson correlation coefficient of horsepower is this, length is this, width is this with the p-value.